My name is Earl, and I'm all right. Thank you so much for joining me this evening on your family lawyer. Right? We have said that again and again. What we do here on your family lawyer is to answer questions that people have on family law. Right? So the best way for us to do it is for you to ask a question and we answer. If you do not ask questions, what I will just do is to come and pick a topic or pick a question from the general issues I have worked on and we will discuss it. Of course, if you drop a comment in the comment section or you ask a question in the comment section in the course of this live broadcast, I'll definitely attend to it. Once again, I would like to remind you that I am a lawyer of 11 years post court as of the time of making this video, and I'm also a counselor of over 19 years. However, whatsoever I share here is not legal advice. Take note of that. Yes, I'm a lawyer of over 11 years and I'm also a counselor, a marriage, sex and family life counselor. But then what I share here is not legal advice. I would always, and I'm doing that right now, suggest and recommend that you consult with your lawyer for better advice, for better information on this particular matter. And if you contact me directly, I would also attend to you in my capacity as a lawyer. But here, I'm more or less like a public counselor. So whatever I'm sharing here is general information, and I want you to consult with a lawyer for your personal issues, right? Today on your family lawyer, the question is simple. Can a person, right, whether that person is a man or a woman, use the definition of the biological definition of male and female, steal, remove, take away, steal his child, right? Can the man steal his child? Can a woman steal her child? The legal term for this is abduction. Can a man adopt his own child? Can a woman adopt her own child, right? This is a question I want to answer today, and as much as possible, I would not be taking your time. Again and again in counseling over the years, whether I'm working as a counselor, I'm working as a lawyer, I've had people who come up to say, how can you say I stole my child, right? We use the term, the legal term adoption, but generally we just call it, people understand it as stealing, right? Or general some others may understand it as kidnapping, either stealing or kidnapping, but the legal term for it is actually abduction. So the question they usually ask that, I'm the mother of this child, I gave birth to this child, I carried this child in my womb for 9 months, I breastfed this child, I've raised this child, and the rest. How can you say I abducted the child? Why will you tell me I kidnapped my child? Why will you say I stole my child, right? Or the man comes up and say, I'm the father of this child, I'll be responsible for this child's welfare financially, I'll be responsible for everything that affects this child, the child's education and everything. This person is my child, I paid a bride price on the mother, and the rest is my child. The child belongs to me, the child belongs to my family, the child even answers my name. Why would you say I abducted the child? Why would you try to tell me that I'm stealing my child or I kidnapped my child? This is a question we always get to face, and we try to explain it to people, and some get it, some don't get it. However, today I will try everything possible to break it down for you so that you understand it some more, and I hope you get it clearly, right? Can you say a person stole his own child? Can you say a person stole her own child? Can you say a person kidnapped the child? Can you say a person abducted the child? The term is adoption. Okay, let's get to the beginning. We all know that generally a child is owned by two people, right? Because the male and female contribute to the conception of a child. Yes, we understand that science has gone far and science has now advanced. You may many women out there can go and look for a sperm donor, go to a sperm bank, buy a sperm to fertilize their own egg and the rest, right? But for today's discussion, I'm going to be focusing primarily on male and female romantic relationship, male and female sexual relationship, male and female marital relationship, right? So a man and a woman come together and they have a child, right? Whether they are married or they are not married, but let's assume that they're married, or and in the alternative they are cohabiting, right? They have a child. We understand that the DNA of a child is made up of the script, the DNA of a child. That script was contributed to by 6 parents, right? The 2 grandparents from the paternal side and the father. That means it's three people. The 2 grandparents from the maternal side and the mother. So 6 people contribute to the DNA script. Allow me say that, of a child, right? What it means is that when you see a child, when you see a person out there, 50% of that person, allow me say 50% of that person's biology comes from the father, and about 50% of that person's biology and even the general psychology also comes from the mother. We understand that social tendencies, social exposure affects the psychology too. But generally, if you see a person, the person is partly father and partly mother. Right now, when these 2 people have contributed to the conception and the coming into existence of this particular child, the 2 of them have shared rights over this child. Let's call it like this: equal rights over this child, because it's more or less like a 50-50 thing. Like, I'm the father, you are the mother, or I'm the mother, you're the father. So it's more or less like we have a 50-50 contribution to this person's existence. If we are then married, if we are married and we are together, then one person should not call all the shots and one person should not make all the decisions. The 2 of us ought to be co-parents of this child. The 2 of us ought to be jointly responsible to the welfare of this particular child. But then human relationships always come with the challenges. So we see people who always have conflicts, whether it's a marital relationship, it's a romantic relationship, or it's just a social relationship in which they have had sexual activities and have a child. So there's always this conflict between dad and mom. And one person will always feel like, I want to take my child away. I want to remove my child, right? The moment you take your child away from the accessibility and relationship of the other parents, without the other parents' consent, or without a valid court order, we say that that is child abduction. They have abducted that child. Okay, let's do it like this. Generally, what can I use to make this analogy right now from my home office? Okay, let me use my hands, let me use my fingers, and I hope you get this clearly, right? This is mom, right hand. This is dad, left hand. Now, dad and mom are responsible for this child. Dad and mom contributes to this child. Dad and mom may be married, or they may not be married. They may be cohabiting, or even in the alternative, they are living apart. They are not even living together, but this is mom, this is dad, right? Anything that affects this child, anything that concerns this child, these 2 people ought to be jointly responsible for the child, jointly make decisions that will affect this child. Do you get it now? The 2 of them have to make the decisions. So let's assume they are living together or they are not living together, and the mom is angry with the dad and decides to just take the child away. We have 2 types. Either it takes the child away from the house, or let me say 3 types. Take the child away from the house where the 3 of them live, that is father, mother, and child, or take the child away from the state, that is, for example, moving the child away from Oyo State to Lagos State, or taking the child to another country, moving his child away from Nigeria to, for example, Ghana, right? These are some of the things that comes to play, the way this child removal happens. Forceful, we call it forceful removal or deceitful removal, and it is usually without the consent of the other parent or without a valid court order. That in law is called abduction. And then yes, Like I said, this is not legal advice. I would have just been citing many laws, but if you follow the Child's Right Law of Lagos State, it makes it a crime. If you even follow the Child's Rights Act, it's also a crime. If you look at Section 27 of the Child's Rights Act, if you look at Section 22 to 24 of the Child's Right Law of Lagos State and of the Child's Right Law of different states, you discover that the law, many states have now made it a law, which means making it a crime. They have made it a crime and made it an offense for you to remove a child from the access of the other parents. What I mean is something simple. Whether you remove the child deceitfully or you remove the child forcefully, once you remove a child from the care and presence of the other parents without the parents' consent or without a valid court order, that is adoption. It is actually an offense. It is a crime. I know you may say this person is my child, and the one that gave birth to this child, like some of the cases out there, the way it usually happens, you always hear like maybe the mother will say, I want to take this child to my parents for holiday or to my sister for holiday. And by the time they go for that holiday, they don't want to bring the child back, or they come up to say, no, we are separated. I don't want to come back to that marriage. I don't want to come back to that home. You are toxic. Everything is bad. I'm not doing this again, and all of that. That's one of the ways this usually happens. Some of that time it happens with maybe a parent going to work, and by the time that parent is coming back from work, comes back home and discover that everywhere is now empty. What has happened? Somebody has packed away her things or his things and also carried the children to an unknown destination. Another way this also commonly plays out is for a parent to just go to the school of this child, remove the child from the school and take the child away. I've told you that there are 3 times: removing the child from the particular home, the house where the parents once lived together, or removing the child from the state where the other parent lives, or removing the child from the country. And I'm telling you in a very simple way, clear way, that it is wrong. It is an offense. Nobody is denying that the person is not your child, but you should remember that you do not have more rights to this child than the other parent. Whether you're the father or you're the mother, nothing gives you more rights over this child than the other person. So you cannot make decisions as to where the person will live, where the person will school, right, or who the person will associate with. The other parent ought to contribute, especially if that person wants to contribute. The other person that has a power to give you that right is, anyway, 2 people can give you that right. Number 1, the other parents can give you that right, or 2, you can get that right from the court through a court custody process. You understand it now? So you can get that particular right from that particular person. So this is how it works and the rest. And you should get this clearly, that yes, a parent can adopt the child. A parent can steal the child. A parent can take away the child, can forcefully take away the child from the other person, and it is wrong. It is not something you should do. It is not something that I will encourage you to do. Okay, I'm in a terrible relationship. I'm in a bad marriage. This person is wicked. This person is evil. This person is like this. This person is like that. What should I do? The answer, family and friends, is simple. Consult a lawyer and let a lawyer advise you accordingly. Generally, what the lawyer will advise you to do will be 1, to seek consent from the other parent, or 2, to apply for court custody. To apply for custody from a court of competent jurisdiction, right? You want to apply for custody. See, nobody says you should not be angry with with the father of your child or with the mother of your child. That's not what we are talking about. We are not talking about the marriage relationship now. We are not talking about the relationship between these 2 people, but we are concerned about the welfare of this child. The general rule and the general principle is simple: the overriding interest of this child. We must always consider the overriding interest of this child. So is it beneficial to the child for you to deny the child the benefits of the other parents, right? Would that be beneficial to the child? Would that be in the overall interest of the child? You are not the person to make that decision because you are biased. You are inside this battle. So your perspective may be biased, your viewpoint may be biased. And so that's why it's best for you to make that decision with the other parent, or in the alternative, you go to court and you apply for custody. We see it again and again where two parents they decide to separate and the rest, and they come to reach an agreement regarding the welfare, regarding the custody of their particular child. It is wrong for you to forcefully or deceitfully remove the child from the other parent without that person's consent or without a lawful a court order, a valid court order. Nobody is denying that you are not the parent. Nobody is denying that you are not the mother. Nobody is denying that you are not the father. We are only saying that your rights, your power, and your authority over this child is not exclusive. It is shared. Somebody else is also a co-parent, right? Now, this is getting loud and loud because of what we call the jackpot syndrome. There's a jackpot season, right? There's a great migration season. People are leaving the country. People are relocating. And many of these people are people who have been separated from their spouse or who have been divorced from their spouse. And so they are, some of them are trying to go away, sneak away, disappear with the other with the child and the rest. Please do not do that. It's too risky. It's crazy. Like, right, that could give you an international ban. That could cause you repatriation if the other person ever takes it up. The way to go about it is simple. Do you intend relocating? Are you separated from your spouse, or maybe you are together but you want to leave your spouse? And migrating abroad, traveling abroad is just one of those things you want to use to be able to leave this toxic relationship, right? Consult your lawyer. Seek legal advice as to what should I do? What should I step? What is your best counsel for me regarding this particular matter? Let them advise you and all of that. So we say, can I not just go and do an affidavit of single parenthood? The challenges about affidavit of single parenthood is that the other parent is not aware. When you are doing custody matter, when you try to get custody in court, definitely the other parent will be informed that, hey, this person is asking for this right. This person is asking for this custody. What do you have to say about it? Do you want to oppose it? Are you consenting to it? Are you bringing fresh terms and conditions to what the person wants? But when people just go by way of affidavit, you are not questioning that. How are you sure that they are not lying? Yes, they say they are not lying, but how are you sure they are not lying? Everybody who comes to court and takes oath always promises and affirms to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. But usually when they are placed under cross-examination, we discover that some people come to court to lie. We see it again. We see people coming to play the role of a fake parent. We see people coming to play the role of a fake spouse. We see the people coming to play the role of a fake relative in court. And these things happen every time. So that's how I like to tell you, do it the proper way. Because if you do it the wrong way, if you go away with the child, right? If you go away with the child and you do that without the consent of the other parent, or you do that without the valid court order, one day when you have settled down, one day when you feel that you're at peace and you're enjoying and your love is your world is perfect, all of a something will just show up from somewhere. Hey, don't say the mother has abandoned him, the mother will not come back, or the father has abandoned her, the father will never come back, this and that. He even said no want the pregnancy, this and that. Yes, that may be at the heat of passion, at the heat of that particular moment. Over time, we always get, the older humans become, the more they reflect about their lives and see that, oh man, that decision I made was wrong. That decision I made was not proper, right? And that's why we are having the family lawyer every Tuesday, 10 p.m. West African time. 10 p.m. every Tuesday, West African time, your family lawyer. And I'm here to be answering these questions and giving you a good perspective. You are not the only parent of this child. You may be the only person who have been responsible for this child. You may be the person who have so constructive custody of this child because maybe the other person abandoned you and the rest. But yeah, when it comes to making decisions as to the location of this child, sometimes it is proper for you to consider. It's not sometimes, every time it's proper for you to consider the other parent, right? The other parent. If you think that, oh, he has not been in this child's life, she has not been in this child's life, he has not been contributing, she has not been contributing, then fine, go to court and get a lawful legal custody. Go to court and get custody. If you think that you have valid grounds to have that other parent no longer connected to this child, if you think that you have sufficient moral, emotional, social, financial, whatever grounds to cut off this other parent, then contact a lawyer and go to court. Don't just deny that person. If not, seek this person's advice and seek this person's consent and get it. Right? So this is what I'm saying to you guys today, that yes, you can abduct your child, and it's an offense. It is wrong. It's a crime. It is wrong for you to forcefully or deceitfully take away a child from the other parent. We are not denying you being the mother. We are not denying the fact that you are the father, but we are saying that you are not the only person who brought this child to life. You are not the only person who created this person, right? Who caused the conception. Another person contributed, and that person has half of this child's DNA script. So you cannot just disconnect. In fact, one of the things we usually see these days is that when you do that, when these children become adults, they start looking for their mother and they start looking for their father, right? Who they want to know who my father is, who is truly my mother, and they want to hear the story themselves. They want to get the story themselves, not necessarily from just what you see. They want to meet the other person and hear the story. And the truth about from my experience, 11 years post-call as a lawyer, 19 years plus as a counselor, all those who went to find their father or all those who went to find their mother always built a relationship with them. Your story may be true, but they always get to have this place of forgiveness and this place of acceptance. So you don't even want to do something that will make your child dislike you over the years, that will make your child feel as though you cut me off from my father and you cut me off from my mother, right? While you are doing something unlawful, don't also do something that will greatly negatively affect the emotions of your child, and in the future affect the relationship that you will have with your child. My name is Earl, and I'm all right. Thank you so much for following. I would like to leave you for now so that we cannot go to bed, especially for those of us who are in Nigeria. If you have any questions, I want to kindly drop the questions in the comment section so that I can answer them. If you have any comments, kindly drop them. And trust me, your family lawyer happens here on Facebook every Tuesday, 10 p.m. Nigeria time. And I'll be bringing more on board, and I'll be bringing to this table everything that I know thus far about the law, everything I understand, especially from the fact that I've been a lawyer for over 11 years now, and I've also been a marriage and family counselor for over 19 years. So I'm going to be bringing this together to be giving you the best answer. So I'll not just be giving you an answer as a counselor, I will also be giving you an answer as a lawyer. And of course, remember, this is not legal advice. Consult your lawyer to get proper legal advice regarding your matter. The reason why we decided to start doing your family lawyer in the All Rights Passion is because we discovered that many people go to meet counselors and they get great counsel, but that great counsel is not legal counsel. Because at the end of the day, when that great counsel faces the law, the great counsel is bad. Like what I shared, like what we talked about last week. Remember last week we talked about, can separation ever become divorce? Can separation ever translate to divorce? And we concluded that based on what the law says, whether you have a customary marriage or you have a statutory marriage, based on the law of Nigeria, even if you have been separated from your spouse for 70 years and the two of you have not seen each other in the last 70 years, you have not communicated with each other, you are not divorced. you are still married. Unless, of course, you are bringing in the presumption of debt, and the presumption of debt is usually 7 years. That, oh, we have not seen ahead for this person for 7 years. We have asked all those who we can ask, we have checked all those who we can check, we have done everything possible, we cannot find this person, and so we want to assume the person is dead. So unless you want to be bringing up the thing of, oh, I am a widower, or I am a widow. If you are not bringing up being a widower or being a widow, you are married as long as you have not had a formal divorce. Thank you so much.